Hello, welcome back to BSLIVE. In this episode, I want to show you how you can create a very simple imperfect cup. So this was inspired by the design of Japanese cup or bowl. Normally, if you find really the one that's really original and genuine and expensive bowl or cup, it was actually made very imperfect, and especially if you can find the one that's already broken and already put together using gold or some sort gold material, that's actually very expensive. So I was inspired, and maybe we can recreate this in Blender, but I'll teach you the simple one. So when you open Blender, you get this cube, right? But we're gonna turn it into a cup very quickly. So let's go to edit mode and quickly right click merge vertices at center. So there are many ways to make a cup, but this is one of the easiest. We're gonna switch to the front, or to the side view at least, while still having the vertex being selected. You extrude the vertices, so now you have edges. So we don't worry about the size of the cup, we just worry about the base of the cup, and then we kind of just extrude it up a couple of times. Just hit E and then extrude. So you create your own cup, but this is only like the profile of the cup, because we're gonna turn it into a real cup simply by using the screw modifier. So that's what you get very quickly. You perhaps sometimes you want to add a bit of subdivisions, maybe before and after, but that's up to you. And just hit apply, because we're gonna quickly turn it into something imperfect. So you have a very thin cup, or just a single surface cup, which is not very good, because a single surface only like very thin surface, and you need to add some kind of thickness. Let's save this first. Cup imperfect. And you can add solidify. So solidify modifier, just add thickness to your cup, or maybe a bowl. Yeah, the bottom part looks funky. You know why? Because the screw modifier doesn't really merge the point at the center. So you go to edit mode again, and then select everything, hit A, select everything, and then merge vertices by distance. So now the bottom part is good and smooth. Now at this point you can apply the solidify or add subdivision as well. But for now, just hit apply, and then you want to go a little bit more. You go to multi-resolutions, and you want to start sculpting the cup. So I just add a bit of subdivisions. The cup may be a little bit too thin, but it's okay. We're gonna sculpt it. Now we switch to sculpt mode and start to add a bit of detail. Let's turn off these notifications. So by default, Blender Sculpt usually have this symmetry turned on. In this case, I want this to be off, so we can have just one sculpting, one axis sculpting the surface. So now I'm starting to add imperfections to my cup. So yeah, I think this is like, you can do this procedurally using noise, but then again, when you start to sculpt it by hand, you really add something you can't I can't really explain. It's very human in a way. So whether you're like an artist or creator, this kind of thing, like design or design principle or art, is something that's you learn over time. So now this cup's starting to look a little bit richer, like maybe like a luxury kind of cup. Ideally, you also want to add some kind of texture, so it's never really flat, or it's not like a simple material. You can start with a clay or something like that if you're like a beginner, just a single surface color like this. I'm using matte cap, by the way, and normally you want to properly adjust the material, make it like, the easiest is to make it like fully metallic and give it like a material of gold. But if you spend a bit of time and kind of painting your own texture, it's gonna look more expensive, and definitely it is more expensive. You spend more time on it. So this is matte cap. Again, matte cap will trick your eyes. Matte cap actually give materials that I wish they have like a shader that actually does this. It's actually not too hard, but the actual shader is this. If you switch to this one or this one, so this is what we have, kind of like a silvery kind of clay. It's not a clay, silvery metal. If you increase the roughness, it's become more like a clay. Decrease the roughness and you have metal. Somewhere in between. Don't forget to also apply the multi-res, but this is gonna be like really high-res model, unless you decimate it or something. So if I hit apply and then go to the wireframe, oh, this one is actually not too bad, not too high-res. So anyway, if we have this, something like this is more like a cheap silverish. If you can make it like gold, but still, maybe I prefer it a little bit more like a clay. So this is like a cup or a bowl that you can simply export as GLB or GLTF for USDZ or AR. So this is, call it imperfect cup. You probably want to add some kind of green tea on top of it at some point. Maybe just make like a cylinder. Not for now. Let's convert this into USDZ. USDZ, convert. Hopefully we get our cup. The size is definitely something you need to check. It's probably too big or too small, but there you go. That's the imperfect cup. It's very easy to make, right? If you want to add texture and make some kind of painting, to add more kind of like hand paint, you go to texture paint and then you can start painting on it, but it says missing texture, right? And because it doesn't have texture, of course, and then before you do that, you probably want to do smart UV as well, or do like a proper UV layout beforehand. So I just did a smart UV. Now I want to add an image texture, create a new, and by default 1024 by 1024. You can go a bit higher. Okay, now I believe we can start painting. Oh, go to texture paint. Okay, now I'm repainting the cup. So my Mac is a bit slow at the moment, but that's okay. You can actually fill this cup with a color. beforehand, and then yeah, now we started to get something that's more rich, you know, like proper cup. When you are working with texture painting, don't forget to save your texture, because it's not saved by default. So you can see there's this indicator there, save as cup texture. So this is just the base color texture. If the cup is too thin like this, it's gonna break easily. So maybe just displace it a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm holding shift, just adding a bit of thickness, and hit apply. Okay, so yeah, this is our cup. We can now save it again. Save it as GLTF this time. Give it a different name. So when it's saving as GLTF, it's gonna save the texture. By anytime you can make changes to the texture, you know, just add a bit of maybe like machine learning it on a neural paint on the texture to get more detail. So now the cup should have texture. So this texture, right, cup texture, you can, like I said, machine learning or deep dream it. Use deep dream and just assign some kind of texture. Something like, let's say we pick a style and we upload our image from this imperfect cup. Upload image. Okay, cancel. So we already have the image uploaded. We have the style. Simply generate. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. 4 seconds, maybe more or less. My internet's pretty slow. Processing. So meanwhile, while it's doing that, go back to sculpting. You can actually add. You can use there's the one that I really like. Grab. Okay, grab. Just increase the radius and then simply moving this ups and down a little bit. So this really add a lot of handmade details. It's making it more real and richer. Okay, this takes a while apparently. So of course you're not limited to just pushing and pulling. You can actually add a proper detailing. For example, if you add a texture, just give it like a bit of noise. That's also possible. So the inside of the cup maybe shouldn't be that rough. It can be a lot smoother. Maybe we can smooth it. %85%. Let's keep making this. If I have like a real clay and then all the tools, I probably will try to make this by hand. But since we are using digital tools like Blender, so this is how we do it. Smooth. Increase the strength. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Wow. Save image. Let's just drag and drop it. I can drag and drop it into Blender, I believe. No. Drag and drop into Blender doesn't work. which is interesting. There we go. So save this. Look at this. Okay. We simply replace the texture using our new texture. This looks a little bit random, but it's not too bad. And then go to shader. Now with our black and white texture, you can continue to smooth the texture and paint over it to add more hand paint instead of just deep dream it. But if you plug this into the metallic or the roughness, you're gonna get a little bit of interesting result. So the cup is now has a bit of glossiness. I think plug it into the metallic and then just adjust the roughness. Yeah, I like this to be a bit darker, but doesn't matter. If you want it a bit darker, maybe you can use mix RGB. Sometimes I wonder whether this is proper workflow or not. But you can mix the color. Yeah, maybe this will work. A bit darker. So save roughness. Yep, something like that. It's very shiny glass. File, export, GLTF, new, GLTF. So when I thought I almost finished with the glass, apparently I still feel like working on it, so I just keep going. Now it's almost 20 minutes, but we have our imperfect cup as a GLTF, and you can export it into your iPhone or iPad, and it's gonna work as AR. Alright, so there we go. That's an imperfect cup story and how you can make it inside Blender. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.